The moment the ping pong balls stop bouncing on April 13th, the 2026 WNBA Draft will trigger the most ruthless roster bloodbath the league has ever seen. Paige Bueckers isn't just the consensus #1 pick, she's a roster apocalypse waiting to happen for whichever lottery team lands her. With WNBA rosters maxing out at just 12 players, and most teams already carrying 11 to squeeze under the brutal salary cap, every single draft pick doesn't just mean adding talent, it means ending careers. And the Minnesota Lynx, who owned Chicago's 2026 first-round pick outright after a draft day trade in 2025, where they sent the number 11 selection to the sky in exchange for eliminating a previous swap and gaining full control of Chicago's lottery slot, that pick landed at number 2 overall in the November 2025 lottery, giving Minnesota a 26.1% chance at number 1 and a guaranteed top 4 selection. Head coach Cheryl Reeve told reporters after the lottery that the team has known their top 5 draft targets for months, and the diversity of talent in this class, from Awa Pham to Lauren Betts to Ozzie Fudd to Olivia Miles, means they're getting an instant impact player no matter who Dallas takes first. But here's the roster nightmare. Minnesota currently has exactly 12 players under contract or with reserved rights for 2026. Courtney Williams, Alana Smith, Natisha Heidemann, Kayla McBride, Bridget Carlton, Jessica Shepard, Dorka Juhas, Maria Kliondikova, Anastasia Oleri-Kosu, Cameron Taylor, and Jaylyn Sherrod, plus their franchise cornerstone, Napheesa Collier, who's obviously untouchable. That's already a full roster before they even make a single draft selection. And Minnesota doesn't just have the number 2 pick, they also hold the 15th overall pick in the first round, which they acquired from Phoenix via a Carly Samuelson trade, meaning they're potentially adding 2 rookies to a roster that's already mathematically over capacity. The front office has 3 options: cut multiple veterans before the draft, trade away roster spots bundled with future picks, or decline to guarantee rookie contracts, which would be franchise suicide given the investment required to secure a top 2 lottery pick. The most vulnerable player on Minnesota's roster is absolutely Jessica Shepard. She's a 29-year-old center who sat out the entire 2024 season to fulfill her contract obligations with Familia Schio in Italy, then returned to the Lynx in 2025 as an unrestricted free agent on what was almost certainly a veteran minimum deal. Shepard posted solid numbers during the regular season: 8 points, 7.3 rebounds, 2.6 assists in 21 minutes per game across 40 appearances with 12 starts, per ESPN stats. She's a reliable front-court presence who can stretch the floor, grab boards, and facilitate from the high post. But here's the brutal roster reality. Minnesota's frontcourt is absolutely stacked. Napheesa Collier is a perennial MVP candidate and untouchable. Alana Smith started every game she appeared in 2025 and is a core piece of their defensive identity. Dorka Juhas missed the entire 2025 season due to personal reasons, but remains under contract and is expected to return healthy for 2026. Bridget Carlton can slide to the 4 and small ball lineups, and if Minnesota drafts Lauren Betts at number 2, a 6'7" traditional center who just dominated the Pac-12 at UCLA, Shepard becomes completely redundant. Her skill set overlaps entirely with Juhas. Both are mobile bigs who can pass and shoot, but lack elite athleticism. Minnesota can't justify paying 3 centers when 2 of them do the exact same thing, especially when Juhas is younger, under team control on a cheaper rookie deal, and didn't miss a full season due to overseas commitments like Shepard did in 2024. The front office will frame it as a positional logjam, but the real reason is cold salary cap math. Shepard's veteran salary, even at the minimum, is exponentially more expensive than a rookie scale contract, and Minnesota needs every dollar of cap flexibility to re-sign their unrestricted free agents, like Courtney Williams, Kayla McBride, and potentially Dejanay Carrington, who they acquired mid-season in 2025 and desperately want to retain after she missed the playoffs with a foot injury. The second player on Minnesota's chopping block is Jaylyn Sherrod, and her situation is even more tragic because she just fought her way onto a WNBA roster after being waived by the New York Liberty in August 2025. Sherrod is a 24-year-old point guard out of Colorado who went undrafted in 2025 despite being a Pac-12 standout. The Liberty signed her to a training camp contract, then cut her before the season started. She spent the summer grinding in overseas leagues and 3x3 tournaments, staying ready, and Minnesota finally gave her a shot in early August when they needed backcourt depth. She appeared in 11 regular season games, averaging 2.1 points and 1.3 assists in 8.7 minutes per contest, per her ESPN game log. Those are barely rotation minutes. She got a total of 4 minutes across 2 playoff appearances, going 0 for 1 from the field with 1 rebound and 1 assist. That's not enough production to survive a roster crunch, especially when Minnesota's backcourt is absolutely loaded with Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann running the point, Kayla McBride providing veteran shooting, and the possibility of drafting Olivia Miles or Ozzie Fudd, both of whom are ball-dominant guards who need high usage to maximize their value. Sherrod is on a reserved free agent deal, meaning Minnesota has the right to extend her a qualifying offer, but they won't. She's a third-string point guard on a team that might draft a starting caliber point guard at number 2 overall. The numbers don't lie. If Minnesota selects Olivia Miles, a 6-foot floor general who just averaged 18 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 7.5 assists at TCU after transferring from Notre Dame, Sherrod becomes the 4th point guard on a 12-player roster. That's organizational malpractice. You can't waste 8% of your roster on a position group that only plays 24 minutes per game. One of them has to go, and it's going to be the undrafted second-year player with the weakest track record, not the established veterans or the top 2 draft pick. But Minnesota isn't the only team facing a Bueckers-triggered roster apocalypse. Dallas won the lottery and holds the number 1 overall pick, and while they're almost certainly not drafting Paige Bueckers, since they already selected her first overall in 2025 and she just won Rookie of the Year, they're still adding at minimum 1 lottery talent to a roster that's already bloated with young players on guaranteed contracts. The Wings currently have 14 players with some form of contractual tie to the organization for 2026, including Paige Bueckers, Arike Ogunbola, Diamond Miller, Isaiah James, JJ Quinterly, Maddie Siegrist, Haley Jones, Lee Ueru, Kristen Williams, Grace Berger, Amy Okonkwo, Louisa Gieselzoder, Tyasha Harris, and Maisha Hines-Allen, per multiple roster reports. That's 2 players over the maximum roster limit before they even make their number 1 overall selection. And Dallas has to cut at minimum 3 players just to field a legal 12-player roster for opening night. And if they want any salary cap flexibility to pursue veteran free agents or make mid-season trades, they'll need to trim even more. The most vulnerable players are the hardship signings from the end of 2025. Grace Berger, Amy Okonkwo, Kristen Williams, and Serena Sundell all signed 7-day or extreme hardship contracts in late August 2025, per Dallas Hoops Journal reporting. Those contracts typically aren't renewed for the following season unless a player proves absolutely indispensable, and none of them did. Berger appeared in limited minutes as a third-string point guard. Okonkwo provided energy off the bench, but is a tweener forward without an elite skill. Williams is a former UConn lottery pick who hasn't stuck with a WNBA team since being drafted in 2022, bouncing between waiver wires and hardship deals. All 3 will be waived before training camp even starts, and Dallas won't lose a second of sleep over it because they're clearing space for Awa Fam, a 19-year-old Spanish center who's dominating EuroLeague veterans right now and projects as a franchise cornerstone frontcourt partner to Paige Bueckers. The third roster on the verge of collapse is Seattle, who landed the number 3 overall pick and are staring at the most uncertain offseason in franchise history. The Storm currently have only 4 players under guaranteed contract for 2026: Dominique Malonga, Lexi Brown, Jordan Horston, and Nika Moule, per Next Hoops reporting. That means 8 roster spots are completely open, which sounds like flexibility until you realize that all 5 of their 2025 starters, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Gabby Williams, Brittany Sykes, Nneka Ogwumike, and Ezi Magabo are unrestricted free agents. If Seattle re-signs at least 3 of those 5, which they absolutely have to remain competitive, they're back to 7 players before adding their number 3 pick. That leaves 5 roster spots for free agency, the draft, and potential trades. But here's where the Bueckers domino kicks in. If Seattle drafts Lauren Betts at number 3, a 6'7" traditional center, they suddenly have a front court logjam with Malanga, Betts, and potentially Ezi Magabo if they re-sign her. That means Mackenzie Holmes, the rookie forward out of Indiana, who barely played in 2025, is gone. Zia Cooke, the South Carolina guard who fell completely out of the rotation by season end, is gone. Both are reserved free agents that Seattle simply won't extend qualifying offers to because they need those roster spots for proven veterans and high-upside draft picks, not project players who couldn't crack a 21-win team's rotation. And the Washington Mystics, picking 4th overall, have the opposite problem. They have too many rookies. Washington enters 2026 with 5 players on rookie scale contracts: Sonia Citron, Kiki Iriafen, Georgia Amore, JC Sheldon, and Lucy Olsen, plus 3 first-round picks in the 2026 draft, including their own lottery selection, Seattle's pick from the Brittany Sykes trade, and Minnesota's pick from the Carly Samuelson deal. That's 8 potential rookies or second-year players competing for 12 roster spots. And you can't run an NBA-caliber franchise with a roster that's 67% players with fewer than 2 years of experience. Someone's getting cut, and the most vulnerable are Emily Engstler and Madison Scott, both of whom are reserved free agents coming off minimal impact 2025 seasons, per Bullets Forever reporting. The Mystics will prioritize their lottery picks over developmental projects every single time. So here's the final body count. Minnesota waives Jessica Shepard and Jaylyn Sherrod, maybe Cameron Taylor if they want to keep both lottery picks. Dallas cuts Grace Berger, Amy Okonkwo, Kristen Williams, and potentially Haley Jones if her knee injury from late 2025 doesn't heal properly. Seattle doesn't extend qualifying offers to Mackenzie Holmes or Zia Cooke, clearing space for Lauren Betts and veteran free agents. Washington moves on from Emily Engstler and Madison Scott to make room for 3 first-rounders. Chicago, picking 5th overall, has to cut at least 1 player from their current 12-player roster, and it's probably going to be a veteran role player buried on the bench. That's 12 players minimum hitting waivers in the next 90 days, all because 5 teams are adding lottery picks to rosters that physically can't accommodate them under the WNBA's 12-player maximum. The 2026 WNBA Draft isn't just about who gets selected, it's about who gets sacrificed. Paige Bueckers might not even be in this draft class since Dallas already has her, but the Bueckers effect, the roster chaos triggered by adding high-usage lottery talent to salary-capped 12-player rosters, is about to end a dozen WNBA careers before summer even starts. Jessica Shepard will probably land in Europe, where she can make more money anyway. Jaylyn Sherrod might get a hardship deal with an injury-depleted team in July. Grace Berger could bounce to Athletes Unlimited or Unrivaled for the offseason and hope for another training camp invite in 2027. But the cold truth is that most of these players are done in the WNBA, not because they can't play, but because the roster math is unforgiving, and lottery picks always win the numbers game. We're tracking every single roster move from now until opening night in May. The next domino to fall is the expansion draft, where Portland and Toronto will each select up to 12 players from unprotected rosters, forcing even more cuts. Then free agency starts, and teams will have to choose between expensive veterans and cheap rookies, which means more waivers. Then training camp begins in late April, and the final cuts happen 48 hours before tip-off. Subscribe so you don't miss a single transaction, because in a league with only 144 roster spots, every move is someone's dream ending and someone else's chance beginning. The Paige Bueckers lottery scramble just decided which bubble players are getting cut, and the official announcements are coming any day now.